got the large gold holding. I doubt we're going to revalue it, but we are going to keep it there, again, as a store of value for the American people. We've also started to get into the 21st century, a Bitcoin strategic reserve. We're not going to be buying that, but we are going to use confiscated assets and continue to build that up. We're going to stop selling that. I believe that Bitcoin reserve at today's prices is somewhere between 15 and 20 billion.
There we have it. Scott Bessent confirming the United States government isn't going to be buying Bitcoin. Now, this has been a popular narrative that has been pushed. And there you have Scott essentially saying the US isn't going to be buying Bitcoin. He very quickly came out and tweeted after this because the markets reacted negatively. And the problem that you've got with the cryptocurrency space, guys, is the ding-dongs trading leverage. We don't give financial advice here, but one bit of financial advice I will give you guys is not to trade crypto with leverage, because you will lose money. When I see channels out there promoting referral links to exchanges and actually sometimes opening videos up with 50, 75, 100x leverage trades, to me, it doesn't resonate very well with me, because I kind of think it's akin to leading lambs to a slaughter. I truly believe that. So Scott obviously came out yesterday and essentially said that the United States wasn't going to be buying Bitcoin. I mean, the fact the US is even exploring potentially a Bitcoin strategic reserve is bullish. He said they're not going to sell the remaining forfeited Bitcoin, which I think is a good thing. The markets didn't really like this though yesterday. And, there was no kind of sell-offs more broadly on the equity markets or anything like this. It was kind of a crypto-specific event, which leads me to believe that yesterday's price action, this kind of pullback that we had, was really solely on the back end of this. I think this is just a retest of the bull flag that we'll look at when we dive over to things technically. He very quickly came out, and Lummis sort of retweeted this saying, I have the bill for that, and said, Bitcoin that has been finally forfeited to the federal government will be the foundations of the strategic Bitcoin reserve that President Trump established in his March executive order. In addition, Treasury is committed to exploring budget-neutral pathways to acquire more Bitcoin to expand the reserve and to execute on the president's promise to make America the United States, or make the United States the Bitcoin superpower of the world. I feel like he had to come out and say that after probably the disappointment that gripped the markets yesterday. The markets obviously reacted. You had nearly $1 billion again yesterday in a lackluster day when there wasn't really a lot going on in liquidations. So that's $1 billion of people losing their money leverage trading crypto. You can only get liquidated if you leverage trade crypto. Why are people still doing this? If somebody is promoting or encouraging people to leverage trade crypto, ask them for at least a year, preferably more's, trade history of them actually successfully leverage trading crypto. You will not get one. And if you do, make sure it's not a paper account. And even still with paper accounts, typically they're not being very successful. Please do that, guys. We're not making any friends by saying this, because this is some other content creators' entire revenue models, is generating or getting a portion of the fees generated on these exchanges that ultimately are going to take your money when you leverage trade crypto. Please stop doing that. Also, this affects the broader markets. There was nothing going on elsewhere. This was a crypto-specific sell-off that caused, nearly $1 billion in liquidations for absolutely no reason. I think the markets initially sort of took this as bad news when Scott said that, and then sort of ran with it, and those liquidations sort of cascaded things. We may be getting some good news today, as Paul Atkins is going to be on Morning Maria tomorrow, 8 a.m. ET. So it's 2 o'clock my time, UK time, GMT, to discuss Project Crypto. Hope you'll all tune in. And Project Crypto, it's a pinch me I'm dreaming kind of world that we're in right now, if you've been in the crypto space for any amount of time and seen this vision, because everything that we've spoken about for years is coming to fruition, and that is the transformation of financial markets on the rails of distributed ledger technology. Money is transforming and moving on chain. I actually think there's I actually have a theory on who I think Satoshi is, or at least who probably enabled Satoshi. And it's an individual that's fundamentally transformed money previously, literally was the first individual to successfully make money digital and bring it into an internet era. It's for another video. But money itself is moving on chain with stablecoins. This is about dollar dominance. Again, this individual predicted this back in the 1990s. That's for an interesting video. I do speak about it with Patreons. If you want to become a patron on my portfolio, do check the link in the description. But also you've got what Paul has announced at the SEC, and that is to enable markets to move on chain. You're likely going to get more clarity on that at 9:30 a.m. ET. And this is from June. Tokenized real world assets is one of the fastest growing sectors in crypto. Projected to bridge $400 trillion plus of traditional assets into blockchain. June is teaming up with Real World Assets to release the State of Real World Assets Report 2025 at the Real World Assets Summit in Brooklyn this September. That'll be cool. Real world assets, crypto offers many opportunities. The usage and utility of it is one, and where we are on that journey being right at the start. In fact, the firing pistol potentially has just gone for certain areas, and we've still got that whole race and journey ahead of us. You look at kind of real world assets and tokenization. We're talking about a few billion minus stable coins, let alone trillions, let alone 400 trillion. And it's a very obvious journey that the space is on and what it's going to do. You know, you talk about it even as an asset class. We've got one of the top analysts on ETFs coming on soon. It's not even been allowed to be that. And once you unlock that liquidity or that capital, we potentially saw an unlock of capital with 401ks, but more broadly, ETFs I think are going to be the big one. This space goes on a monstrous journey akin to what the S&P 500 did when it had its first ETF in 1994, or gold back in 2004. We've got this unbelievable time ahead of us, guys. I truly, truly do believe that, and people need to always remember that. Certainly in the face of days like yesterday where the space gets a harsh slam down on Scott Bessent literally coming out and saying, we're not going to be buying Bitcoin, which is literally contrary to what all of these congressmen and women have been telling you for the best part of a year now. It's going to happen. It's definitely going to happen. Scott literally comes out and says, we're not buying Bitcoin. We're going to explore budget neutral ways to do so. Who knows what that may entail. Do you see nationalization of miners? I own a few miners. I would like to see that. Not entire nationalization, but part nationalization. And not because I think that would be a great thing for freedom or anything, just because it would pump my own bags. You know, aren't we all trying to pursue our own special interests in this world? And the second that we kind of admit that, you know, we can start to crack on. But this slam down was literally caused by what Bessent had to say. In the grander scheme of things, which is what we always try and impress on you guys, forgetting things fundamentally and looking technically, this is a clear up trend. It's going to continue, in my opinion. And we looked at a couple of flags that are playing out. I think this really could just be a retest before that continuation takes place. We did cite the CME gap. Bitcoin futures. Has that gap now closed? Yes. So you do have a closing of that gap. Hopefully now we see that continuation. These gaps have a habit of closing. So there's every reason for Bitcoin to do well. We'll see what Paul says later on today. Do not fear, Allincrypto is here. Also, the total cryptocurrency markup, excluding Bitcoin, just ran into all-time highs again. You'd expect resistance there. This is going to shine through it. I'm dropping a cup and handle course very soon for Patreon members. Ladies and gents, that's really it from me. I don't want to do anything too tedious on this Friday. Got lots of insane content coming out for you guys. I believe I'll be on Paul Barron's show at some point. So if you guys can go and give me support over there, that would be greatly appreciated. It's good that we're getting on some of the bigger channels and Paul's doing a good job. That's really it from me. Have a fantastic Friday. Stop trading leverage and stop listening to people that are trying to get you to trade leverage crypto. I've sought out some of the greatest technical minds that have proven track records as traders in traditional markets or Forex markets. They try their hand at crypto and it's a mixed bag. Some of them are just completely not successful at it. Certainly when you introduce leverage. Yet somebody that's watched a YouTube channel where somebody's showing some sort of a P&L that could literally be entirely fabricated, likely is when you're talking insane numbers as far as leverage is concerned. It's not sustainable over time. People get the idea, they watch a YouTube video and think, oh, I'll try my hand at that. You might get lucky a few times, but let me tell you, it will wipe you out eventually. Please stop it, guys. And I'm saying that because I love you guys. You guys have given me so much. This channel is on the up and up and up. And I want people to stay safe. You can make more than enough money for investing in the right crypto projects. Hopefully we talk about some of them on this channel. That's it from me, guys. I'm going to love and leave you. Have a fantastic Friday. I'll see everybody in the next one.